Good morning, everyone. We are so very excited to have all of you here with us today. My name is Julie Moore Wolfe. I am the mayor of Decatur, and this is like the best day ever in this community. We're here today to talk about partnerships, priorities, and solving problems. I started on Decatur City Council back in 2009, and this project was brought to us, I think, in early 2010. Basically, we're talking about a railroad crossing that is the busiest one in Macon County. At the time of our initial study, it was blocked 17 hours a week. Well, that's a huge amount of time. It was expected to go to 24 hours within the following decade. Now, this is in a part of town where we have major industry, Richland Community College. It is our growth corridor. And with a railroad crossing that is blocked that many hours a week, it's only going to cause more and more problems. So the city and county, shortly after I became mayor, the city and county got together on transportation issues because we really realized we needed to be working together on our asks for things more than the county having a project, the city having a project, and a lot of those projects needed to work together too. So Kevin Greenfield, our chairman, and I got together. We hired Ann Schneider, a former IDOT secretary, as our transportation coordinator consultant. So we knew we had to go and lobby Springfield and Washington for money. We brought in our other partners. We brought in business, big business, small business, the Chamber of Commerce, and our partners and friends in labor. And we made this project a top priority. So when Josh Sapp went to Washington, when I went to Washington, a lot of times we went together to Washington, we had the same ask, and it was about this project. It's a really big deal for everyone in this community. So we've been asking, and twice we have been fully funded, ready to go. We thought we're ready to go. Well, guess what? Costs went up. So back to ground zero, not ground zero because we had some money in the bank, but we kept working with Ann and kept working with our representatives in Washington and in Springfield and in the governor's office saying, we really need more money, we need more money. A year ago at this time, we had the money, we put the project out for bid. We were ready to go. Representative Scheer and I were celebrating this project and how excited we were. And then the bids came back and we were 43% over what our anticipated budget was. So it was back to Washington, back to Springfield, back to the governor's office, begging and pleading and making our case, telling our story for economic development because the story's gotten even bigger. Through the efforts of the EDC, along with partners at ADM, we just broke ground on Innova Feed, which we'll be building out here. LG Chem is building 2 plants. This is the center of growth, the growth corridor for this part of our region. So about 5 or 6 weeks ago, Secretary Osmond and Governor Pritzker were in town, and Chairman Greenfield and I had an opportunity to sit down with them for about 6 minutes. And I could be a little pushy. Sorry, Governor, maybe a little too pushy, but we made the case about why we really needed this money. And the governor said, have you talked to your congressperson? And I said, I talked to Nikki Baczynski yesterday. You know, we have gotten money from Senators Duckworth and Durbin, but we have to have money from your program to make this work. And we might have been a little too pushy, Kevin, I think, but I'm not very sorry about that. Anyway, we're here today to celebrate the fact that through our partnerships, through our priorities, we're solving a problem, and this is a win for Team Decatur, and we couldn't be more excited. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my absolute favorite governor of the state of Illinois, Governor J.B. Pritzker.
I'm not just your favorite when I'm delivering on a request of yours, am I? I hope not. What a great day it is for Decatur, really. This is, I know, a project that's so important to the city, to the county, to the mayor, and I want you to know there's no better advocate on behalf of this city than this mayor. Ever since I came into office and she came into office, she has been a consistent advocate, and she has gone and worked with your great state representative, Sue Scherer, and your great state senator, Doris Turner. And she is well-liked and well-known in Springfield. And so when she asks, people want to deliver for you. And Decatur has had so much growth. I just think we all know that this is the future of the state of Illinois. And so it's a thrill to be here today, to be able to post these pictures of what is happening now and what will be. And I'm just excited as heck to be here. Look, it is always great for me to be back in Decatur. We've been lucky in the last few years that the reasons for coming to Decatur have all been about building up Decatur, about building up Macon County, and about growth. And I don't know that there has been a time period in Decatur's history when so many good things have been happening here, and it's a lot because of your local leadership and state government helping along the way. For the last 4 years, state government has invested billions of dollars here and in communities across Illinois to restore and renew all modes of transportation throughout our state, roads and bridges, airports and transit, as well as pedestrian and bike routes. Modernized infrastructure is bringing more businesses and new jobs and faster commutes and fewer car repairs. And we're also collectively investing billions of dollars to revitalize central and southern Illinois communities writ large, more than ever before in Illinois history. So today, I'm proud to announce yet another leap forward, nearly $200 million for the freight routes that have defined Illinois for generations. These funds will be used for 22 port, rail, and highway projects across Illinois to address bottlenecks, increase mobility, and improve the supply chain up and down the state. That's not the only money, but it is a substantial amount of money that's coming that we're announcing today. And that work starts right here in Decatur. Today's announcement includes $10 million for the city's Brush College Road, Ferries Parkway grade separation project, splicing apart Norfolk Southern Rail and the roadway, and in doing so, improving safety for residents here and bolstering intermodal connections and commerce. It's good for people, it's good for business. Right now, the blockades and the delays, as has been said, add up to almost a full day for every week here, slowing down the movement of freight, but also creating a safety hazard for first responders when tragedy strikes. And once this Brush College Road project is complete, rail will be faster and driving will be safer for Decatur. This has been made possible thanks to a strong partnership. This was mentioned, but you have to understand how important it is for state government to know that at the local level, people have their act together. They're working together at the county level, the city level, with community organizations, understanding and collectively advocating, and then the federal government, hugely important. And you'd think it'd be easy. We're all elected officials. But it's not, right? There are barriers between each level of government that lots of other cities and counties aren't able to work through. But here you have been. So this is made possible by this strong relationship between the federal government representatives, the Illinois Department of Commerce, the Illinois Commerce Commission, Norfolk Southern Rail, and the city. And that coordination is sending a signal to the nation that Decatur and Central Illinois are open for business and getting big things done. That coordination has a kind of a amplifying effect, just so you know. Businesses know that if you can get this kind of thing done, there's a lot more that you could get done. And so when they think about where they want to locate, they want to come places where they know big things will get done, and here you are. And this is just the latest infrastructure upgrade that our Rebuild Illinois investments have brought to Decatur. Many of you know we're replacing the Illinois 105 Williams Street Bridge over Lake Decatur, upgrading US 36 from Illinois 48 to Church Street, resurfacing Illinois 121 from Interstate 72 to University Avenue. And Mayor Moore-Wolfe joined me in January to announce grants that will make strides in the city's public transportation options, expanding and rehabilitating Decatur's transit campus, bringing new life to the city's business district, installing solar panels on the city's bus barn, upgrading the city's transit support vehicles to hybrids, and installing EV charging stations for a future fleet, reducing greenhouse gas emissions and minimizing the long-term maintenance costs of our transportation system. Have you heard a list like that recited here in a long time? No. An awful lot is happening, and once again, it's because of local leadership. None of this could happen without the amazing workers here in Decatur and all across our state, whose skills and training allow us to build the highest quality infrastructure in the nation and the best safety ratings built into that high quality. I want to especially recognize Josh Sapp, who you'll hear from, President of Decatur Building and Construction Trades, LaMarcus Williams, President of Decatur Trades and Labor Assembly, Bob Guy, who you'll also hear from shortly, the State Director for Smart Transportation Division. Thanks to all of you and your colleagues for all that you do, because people look to Illinois for the quality of the work that gets done. And it is your members, it is the workers of Decatur who are making this possible for all of us. When we invest in our communities, when we rebuild our infrastructure, companies take note. Last fall, TCCI, an industry leader in compressor technology, announced a $20 million investment in a retooled factory and new jobs right here in Decatur. And in partnership with our host today, Richland Community College, TCCI is breaking ground on the Climatic Center for Innovation and Research facility, affording students an incredible nation-leading technology and training opportunity to seize the jobs of the future right here. With InnovaFeed, you heard this, and LG Chem joining the growing ranks of business wins for Decatur, we're going to have to keep making public investments to keep up with your transportation, logistics, and distribution needs. Together, we're building a new Illinois, building progress and opportunity in Decatur, dedicating our capital plan to resolving problems that previously sat untouched for decades, and supporting hundreds of thousands of jobs here and across the state along the way. So thank you. Thank you for being a wonderful community that people want to invest in, for working together to make all of this possible. And I'm very pleased to get to introduce the best Secretary of Transportation in the entire nation. That's Omar Osman.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor, for your kind word. And honestly, though, congratulations, Mayor Wolfe, and your team in Decatur. Before I start with me here today, though, from the department is Director, all of them are in the back there, Director Holly Bieneman, she's the Director of Office of Planning and Programming, and also Mike Vanderhoof, he's the Bureau Chief of Urban Planning within Holly's shop, and Deputy Director Region for Engineer Jeff Meyer. They do the work behind the scene. That's why they're all the way in the back, I guess. And they have worked tirelessly with the mayor's team and, of course, with my friend, Ann Schneider, to make this a reality. The governor said, though, Illinois is the freight hub of our country, and nowhere is that more evident than right here in Macon County. All of these projects announced by the governor today are worthwhile projects for investment. They make the movement of goods and people much more efficient by removing bottlenecks and adding capacity in key strategic locations such as where we stand at the Midwest Inland Port. Making freight operations as seamless and as safe as possible between the modes was another important consideration. And nothing quite gets that done as effectively as great separation projects like this one. The governor understands that we are part of one large interconnected system. Rails and roads do not operate separately, but together. This project is a case study in how improving one method of delivery can make operations easier for the other, while improving safety and quality of life for everyone. These awards targeting the movement of freight are further proof that you cannot just build your way to a better system of transportation. You must wisely utilize the resources you have. The biggest reason why these awards are so significant, we heard from communities where there was need and we responded. Under this governor, IDOT has placed a strong emphasis on working with our local partners. They are on the ground every day, and they know better than anyone the solution that will work best. That's what is being done here today, using these resources we have available, asking communities and private sectors for innovative solutions, and working together to see that they can be accomplished. That kind of forward thinking and teamwork is a hallmark of this governor and of this department. Thank you for having us here today. And now it's my pleasure to introduce a true friend, a champion of infrastructure, Representative Souchere.
Thank you, everyone. This is a moment for me because this was the first project I ever started working on when I got elected in 2012. And I remember, like deer in the headlights, January of 2013, I think I'd been in office a week, and we hosted a breakfast and a tour with then Secretary of IDOT, Ann Schneider, and her assistant, which happened to be Omer. And so I remember it like it was yesterday. We went up and down Brush College Road and some other places, but that was the main focus. And then it was Jan's East End Grill at the time, and we sat there and we were just begging that this has got to be fixed. It's so unsafe. So many workers get caught on one side of the track or the other. I'm sure many of the people in this room have been stuck between one train and another, and you look and think, how am I going to ever get out of this if there was a heart attack or something? And so I think back on that breakfast, and now it's coming to fruition, and it's almost too good to be true. So then last year, I'm like, Omer kind of lets me know that he likes to go out to breakfast. So I'm like, how about you come back to Decatur again and we take that little ride again, only now you're the Secretary of IDOT, and we have, it's been 3 governors now, because that was Quinn and then Rotter, and now all of our favorite governor, J.B. Pritzker's in, and now it is happening. And it's going to just change so many things for so many people's lives. And I think it's so far-reaching that we don't even have an idea of what all wonderful things can happen because of this. I just think it's that big of a deal. And to think that I never have to sit under that underpass again and wonder if it's going to crash in on my head, that's a very happy thought, too. And the workers from ADM, the workers get to go to lunch now because they don't have to worry about going to lunch and being on the wrong side of the tracks and not being able to get through the bottlenecks. And so, that's going to help economy too. So, it's just so many things that we aren't even thinking about. The number of people who are going to be put to work because of this investment. And we have to step back and think this money could have gone anywhere in the state of Illinois. Think about that. It's a lot of money, and it's coming again right here to Decatur. And I just am starting to see this whole plan unfold, and it's so exciting. It's rare that a person gets to be there at the beginning and the end, so I'm like on a high today. So again, thank you all for coming, and thank you very much to everybody behind me, Senator Turner, who's over at the Capitol right now, and I'm getting ready to get over there, and it's just a special moment in Decatur, probably the most special in my life. Thank you.
No, that's okay. I got it, Sue. So, I'm Josh Sapp. I'm president of Decatur Building Trades Council and business manager with IBW Local 146 here in Decatur. It's been said, obviously, this is a great day for Decatur. Thank you very much to everybody behind me, Governor Pritzker. I think we also need to acknowledge somebody who's not with us today that put some time into this. May know a thing or two about this guy, Andy Menard, former senator, now deputy governor. JB, we still don't really forgive you for taking him from us for that, but
You got Doris.
we got Doris, which is a very capable replacement. So this will create hundreds of jobs. This particular project will create hundreds of jobs for the men and women of Decatur Building Trades Council, but really open up thousands of jobs for the residents of Decatur and Macon County. So again, I'll be brief. Thank you very much. It has been a long road, more than a decade of lobbying, countless hours put into this, and it would not be possible if we didn't have great representation and leadership of Governor Pritzker. So with that, I'm going to bring up Bob Guy, the State Director of SMART.
Thank you, Josh. This really is a huge, huge project, and I'm so happy for Decatur and the community at large. I'm Bob Guy, State Director for SMART Transportation Division. We are the largest rail labor union in the country and in Illinois. Train crews know all too well that the leading cause of fatalities in our industry are incidents involving grade crossing accidents and trespassing. It happens far too often throughout the country and throughout Illinois. So when we talk about a project like this, it's tremendous to be able to separate the roadway from the tracks. Train crews' worst nightmare is to strike someone, a vehicle or a pedestrian. Public service announcement, trains can't stop on a dime, not freight trains or passenger trains. So this is truly a wonderful, wonderful safety initiative. It'll increase safety for rail workers and open up traffic flow, as the governor mentioned, supply chains. The snags we see across the country, and as well as this country and this community knows all too well, trains are longer and heavier than they've ever been before. This will help relieve that. It needs to happen far more often across the state and across the country, and thank you for the leadership behind me for making that happen. But it's incredible to see this happen in regards to the safety aspect. It's been said before, but it truly will help rail workers. It'll help emergency responders and the community at large. So I thank everyone, and with that, I'll hand it back over I'll echo the mayor's sentiments, the best governor around, and I want to commend Governor Pritzker on his steadfast leadership and dedication to rail worker safety and community safety. So thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Before I take questions from the media, I just was reminded by Representative Scherer's remarks that, as she said, I'm the third governor that she's been trying to get this done with. And I was reminded that the first day that I came into office, and I went to the James R. Thompson Center in Chicago. It was really not the first day in Chicago. And I walked in and I met the guy who was responsible for managing the maintenance of the James R. Thompson Center. Now, anybody here who's been to that building knows that that's an impossible building to maintain. In fact, it had been falling apart for years. And this poor guy, I said to him, well, how long have you worked here? And he said, 6 governors. And it really put me in my place. I'm just passing through to this guy. I'm just another one of those guys that's going to be in that office for a few years. So Representative Scheer reminds me I'm just another guy.
But you're the one that made it count.
Well, I appreciate that. Anyway, happy to take questions from members of the media.
Question to the mayor first.
Yes.
Mayor, I believe last summer the cost overruns were identified at about $16 million. I guess has funding for the remaining gap been identified? If so,
Yes, we've been cobbling together through the work of our transportation consultant, Ann Schneider, couple million here, couple million there, but this is what is really going to make this project happen, because now we can go to bid, which until today, we didn't have the money to make it happen. So, and the longer you delay a project like this, the more the costs go up, because things are not going to get cheaper.
And you're confident that there aren't going to be more overruns?
That's not going to happen, right, Mr. Secretary? We're good? We're good. We're good. We're going to go to the bank with this one, Brendan.
Summer, when would construction start? This season?
We're hoping to get it on the bid letting as quickly as we can. Probably we're looking at actually moving dirt in the fall, maybe late summer. Fingers crossed.
Yes, sir.
Now that they've shook you down for this money, this next budget, the new budget that'll be taking effect July 1st.
Yes.
I know you put a lot of money into infrastructure. What are we looking at infrastructure-wise for the upcoming year?
Well, as you know, there are 2 pieces of infrastructure dollars, right? There's the ongoing maintenance dollars that are in our regular budget, and then, of course, there's Rebuild Illinois, which are capital dollars, some of which are used for maintenance and upgrades of existing roads. Some of it is new construction altogether. So I'm not sure I could add up the number of dollars that'll get spent. The Secretary may be better versed in this, but but you're talking about. Remember, we have roughly $33 billion of transportation capital for a 6 to 7 year period here. And so you can do that on your division there. But that we also have, I think it's about $5 billion in, what number are we at? About four and a half billion. I think, it's about the same as it has been in previous years in terms of maintenance CapEx, as we say, that's in the regular GRF budget. That's never been enough, FYI, and that's why the capital program has always been necessary, because we don't really have enough in GRF for maintenance and upgrades. This Rebuild Illinois program, though, is so big and continues to yield dollars for local purposes as well as for state purposes that we shouldn't, and I want to knock some wood when I say that, shouldn't have big problems going forward with maintaining the roads that are being built today.
Governor, overall with the upcoming budget, we're a little more than a month and a half before the scheduled end of session. How different would you say, could you see the final product of the budget when it's voted on in May be different from your budget proposal from February?
Well, we've been fortunate, I think, over the last 4 years that we've put forward a budget that mostly has remained intact when you get to the end. Obviously, there are members of the General Assembly that have needs that they bring forward during this process that either we didn't know about or didn't include in my budget proposal that then get discussed and voted on in the General Assembly. So changes get made. I don't know what percentage to put on, how much of it remains intact, but I've been fortunate the General Assembly, generally speaking, has accepted my budget almost entirely intact with some additions, maybe minor subtractions. So we'll call it 90% my original budget and 10%, of other things that occur within the General Assembly. That may not be giving them enough credit because they do, the General Assembly does great work in the process of shaping the dollars that we put forward within a category to make sure that they get spent in ways that maybe the General Assembly likes slightly better than the way I may have shaped it in the first place.
Well, given everything you just said, Are there any areas of your budget proposal where you could be an uphill battle in negotiating with the General Assembly for things that you'd like to accomplish?
I'm sure that I should call Representative Scherer up here and have her answer that, yeah. But I don't think, I mean, again, you know what the major pieces of my budget have been. I want to remind you, however, that here is the number one principle about budgeting. I'll say two things. One, we have to pass a balanced budget. That Illinois has had a past where, you know, if for a few years anyway, that didn't happen. So getting that done for 4 years in a row, now 5 years, I hope, in a row, is a big deal. And I think the General Assembly has taken that very seriously. So that's number one. Number two, and just go back to a focus on the word balance. We cannot any longer paper over deficits that the state has had. And we've done everything that we can to pay off debt, short-term, medium-term debt, and long-term debt, which is our pension debt, more than is required. So I'm proud of the work the General Assembly has done and that we've done, again, being somewhat conservative about the amount of revenue that's expected, and then making sure that we put forward a budget proposal that lives within our means and gives us the opportunity to pay off old debts that we all got inherited, really, from previous generations of legislators and governors.
Last question, Governor.
Yes, sir.
One of the first pieces of legislation you signed was the Gun Dealer Certification Act. Tucked into that was a provision that required ISP to collect a bunch of data on gun crimes in the state. They're supposed to report it to the General Assembly and to you every year, put it up for the public to see. ISP sent a report last month that they've been unable to compile that data. How can policymakers like you and Representative Scheer make good, comprehensive statewide gun policy when we don't have a full picture? And what's your administration doing to address some of these reports?
I think it's an excellent example for all of us that just passing a law by itself isn't going to get the job done if there is a problem with implementing the law. That's not a fault of the General Assembly. I think good intentions and the administration, good intentions to be able to gather that data. Here's what ISP has discovered, which is as you go county by county and law enforcement agency by law enforcement agency, it turns out the systems are, some range of on paper to something that's, let's say, somewhat modernized. And so collecting that data year in and year out, or even month in and month out, has just been very difficult. The ISP has found they can't get the data from some places. And so it's incomplete. ISP is not able to deliver what the law wants it to deliver. And I think we all realize that there are maybe some adjustments that need to be made and support for the modernization of law enforcement systems at the local level. Again, it depends on where you go, right? Chicago has systems that allow them to report on a very regular basis. You probably know, Jeremy, better than I do. I think it's on a weekly basis. They're able to deliver stats in every category. I won't name places, but let's just say local law enforcement in some smaller jurisdictions really can't deliver that stuff, in a timely fashion. So we need to make a change in the law is likely a need. And then we need to make sure that we're, have systems that regularly pull the data, and it isn't a human interaction that is required for every one of these jurisdictions. We just have too many local law enforcement agencies to be able to do that.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.